There are quite a lot of fragrances in perfumery that a lot of people consider to be dangerous, consider to be very repulsive, consider to be, I don't know, off limits. And they encourage you not to try them, not to sniff them, and of course not to buy them. Why? Because they are atrocious, because they are very bad, because they smell very bad. And today, in this video, I'm going to talk about this subject. Dangerous, or better said, so-called dangerous perfumes. Dangerous in the eyes and also in the minds of, let's say, YouTube reviewers, of online commentators and whatnot, on forums and so on and so forth. To me, these are actually some really, really beautiful fragrances that I'm going to show in this list. But the main or general consensus is that they are very, very dangerous, and you should actually keep off from these fragrances. By doing this and listening to this type of stupid advices, you are actually losing on some very interesting fragrances. Okay, let's start with the first one. The first one comes from the house of Nishan, and every single video or review written in the online mentioned this fragrance as being one of the nastiest fragrances out there. And unfortunately, I do not share this opinion. I actually consider this one to be a really, really beautiful fragrance. It's called Africa Oud from the well-known Nishan fragrance house. So everywhere you go, you're gonna see a lot of reviews, a lot of opinions saying that this is very bad, that this is very dangerous, that this is very nasty, that this is atrocious and whatnot. And it's smelling like feces and like urine, or you name it. In reality, where things actually matter, this is actually very beautiful. And in my honest opinion, this is one of the most gentle animalic fragrances out there. This to me is an entry-level animalic. This has nothing in common with what everyone is talking about. This isn't nasty. This isn't dangerous. This is a very beautiful concoction where you have a lot of animalic tones featured, but no, it isn't what others want you to believe. It's quite beautiful, it's also quite elegant, and also very high quality and long lasting. And as I said, to me, this is an entry-level animalic fragrance. Africa Oud from the house of Nishan, my first entry in this list with dangerous, nasty fragrances. The second one comes from the house of Opus. And again, I've read and seen a lot of things said about this one. People complaining that it smells like sweat and whatnot. In reality, this is a very beautiful citrus. And I'm talking about bergamasque, because this is the fragrance. And you can see that I did wear it quite a lot, because it was and still is one of my favorite hot weather citrusy fragrances. Absolutely gorgeous, if you ask me. Yes, it is animalic also, because you have musk in the composition, but you have a very beautiful bergamot note. And this is very uplifting, very refreshing, a bit dirty, not clean. I would say actually that this is quite a very interesting scent, being clean and dirty at the same time. But incredible performance with bergamot from Opus, and an incredible bergamot note inside the composition. This is actually inspired by a traditional Italian folk dance in the region of Bergamo, so that's why it's called bergamasque. Okay, next entry in this list comes from the house of Vagabond Prince, and it's this one. It's called Land of Warriors, and this is the most interesting, most curious, most creative, most complicated leather fragrance that I know, that I ever sniffed actually, because this is incredible. The level of creativity and uniqueness of this fragrance is unmatched, if you ask me. You have different types of leather featured inside Land of Warriors. Vegetal leather, animalic leather, suede, you name it. It's inside this beautiful, actually, bottle. And it's very strong. It's very powerful. If you love leather, this is a must-have in your collection. There is nothing out there that compares to this one. Forget about Tuscan leather and whatnot. This is, in my honest opinion, the king of all leather fragrances. Land of Warriors from the Vagabond Prince. Next entry in this list, the House of Amouage. Let's start with the first one. Figment Man. Yeah. The beautiful, incredible, powerful Figment Man. I love this fragrance. I've said it many times prior. But a lot of people hate it. A lot of people can't stand it. A lot of people find it very obnoxious, very dangerous. Of course, this is a very beautiful, earthy, animalic interpretation. One of the best fragrances from Amouage ever created. And if you love unique creations, and if you love animalic fragrances, you're gonna definitely love, of course, Figment Man. Next entry, this one, Opus 13. Why? Very simple. Because you have agarwood inside. And it's so very, very complex and so beautiful. Amazing creation, very good performance. This is nuclear stuff by any means. This is incredibly complex. And of course, because it has a multifaceted agarwood inside, people have the impression that this smells too barnyardy, too fickle. Yeah, what can I say? When you smell all day just Latafa and I don't know what other stupid dupe houses are out there on the market, of course that you cannot understand creativity, uniqueness and quality. Because your nose isn't trained for this kind of stuff. One of the best animalic scents out there on the market, one of the best Amouage ever created. Incredible performance, incredible smell also. I love wearing it in extreme high heat, but also in cooler weather. And of course, let's not forget about this boy called King Blue. Again, wherever you go, whatever you see, whatever you read, this smells like poop. Really? Okay, this doesn't smell like poop, for the simple fact that it has the exact same ingredient as Opus 13, that being silverwood, but combined with a very beautiful mandarin note and a very beautiful aquatic undertone. This is a lot more wearable compared to Opus 13 silverwood. This lacks quite a lot in the animalic department compared to silverwood. That's why this is a very beautiful and very wearable scent, in my honest opinion. Performance-wise, this is simply amazing. But whatever you read, wherever you read, people complain that it smells like poop. Wrong again. It doesn't smell like poop. It smells like quality. And it smells like artistry. Opus 15 King Blue from the house of Amouage. My next entry in this list comes from the house of Zoologist. Oh yeah. Again, let me see where it is. Another fragrance that makes a lot of people very angry, very mad, because again, to them, it smells like sweat. But in real life, this scent is about blackcurrant absolute. And this is what they consider to smell like sweat. Dodo 2020, because this is what I have here, the 2020 edition, which I think got discontinued this year also. So yeah, kudos to Zoologist. And you have an amazing, incredible blackcurrant absolute note inside this one. This is very sultry. You have the impression that you are at a thermal water pool, if you want. This is how it feels. And I actually love this fragrance. I wore it in extreme high temperatures and it's very refreshing, very cooling. It has a somewhat, if you want, minty feeling, but it's a bit exaggerated to say minty, but in the veins, if you want. And it's simply outstanding. Very unique, very challenging, very creative, actually. Think about, I don't know, going to Iceland and you are sitting near a volcano that erupted. Pretty much that's what you're gonna feel. Or I don't know, if you are at a thermal water spring, then also you get that sultry, or let's call it rotten eggs impression. Honestly, I have no issue in rocking Dodo 2020. I find it to be one of the most interesting creations from the house of Zoologist and one of the most unique creations on the market in general. So Dodo 2020 was my entry from this house. Another fragrance that's very much critiqued comes from the house of Acro. It's this bad boy called Moldt. Yeah, believe it or not, people are complaining about this one also. This is a very beautiful creation from Olivier Cresp, a very interesting take on a boozy, aquatic, salty, leathery, smoky type of fragrance, because to me this fragrance is a very interesting aquatic scent. Very complex, very unique, very creative, very challenging. I actually baptized this fragrance as the Fisherman's Tavern, because to me, I get a lot of saltiness, I get a lot of seaweed, I get a lot of whiskey barrels with smoky nuances and a bit of leather. So to me, this smells, if you want, like a Fisherman's Tavern that's sitting right near the sea. Incredible scent, incredibly beautiful, very challenging, very unique, and very long-lasting. If you don't know Moldt, I highly recommend you to try it out, because it is one hell of a ride when wearing this one. And I wore it in extremely high heat. I simply loved wearing it. It's that good. My next entry in this list, with dangerous, nasty, atrocious fragrances, is the one, the only, the killer of noses. You know it, it's coming. Sécrétion Magnifique from État Libre d'Orange. One of my favorite fragrances in my entire collection. It's absolutely incredible how people describe this fragrance. This is one of the most interesting and creative fragrances that I ever encountered. And this is a fragrance that to me feels like a sweet aquatic kind of scent. Nothing, but absolutely nothing dangerous or disgusting about this fragrance. I see people saying that they gag when they feel the scent of Sécrétion Magnifique, that they throw up and whatnot, over exaggerations in my honest opinion. This is a very beautiful, semi-sweet type of fragrance, at least on my skin. What happens on other people's skin, it's their problem and it doesn't concern me. Extremely potent, extremely long-lasting. Sécrétion Magnifique from the house of État Libre d'Orange. And this house does have quite a lot of fragrances, such as this one, where you are quite challenged in defining the notes and the scent overall. Next entry, again, small bottle, but great strength. From the house of L'Artisan Parfumeur, this fragrance is supposed to represent, I've seen a lot of people saying this, the passage to the underworld. Yeah, this fragrance should smell like death. Yeah, right. Mon numéro 10 from L'Artisan Parfumeur. Just a beautiful incensey fragrance. Churchy incensey fragrance. Think about a medieval cathedral like we have here in Europe, in almost every town. A century old or many centuries old cathedral where a lot of incense was burned. And this is what you basically get with Mon numéro 10 from L'Artisan Parfumeur. Really beautiful incense scent, very beautiful the performance, and masculine at the same time. Mon numéro 10 from L'Artisan Parfumeur is the entry from this house. Let's move further and go to our next entry in this list. And the next entry comes from the house of Zvedoft. And it's called Spice Surprise. Yeah. Incredible boozy scent. One of my all-time favorite boozy scents ever created. I'm gonna tell you why. You have a lot of spices in this one. You have red wine, and you also have tons of cedar. This is cedar galore, but incredibly beautiful cedar. But to a lot of people, this is very offensive. Extremely offensive. Highly offensive. Why? Because it smells like the aftermath of a long drinking night of red wine, and afterwards you throw up. Yeah, I can get it why, but to me it smells simply outstanding. It's a perfect rendition of red wine first and foremost, and I also really love the cedar wood used in this one. Incredibly beautiful, extremely potent. This is a cold weather scent if you want, but I wore this one also in high temperatures, so I had no issues, because per usual, I don't really care what other people around me think about my fragrance or my fragrances. I always wear what I want, when I want. Why? Because that makes me happy. Okay, this pretty much does it for this video. This is my list with some very dangerous, very nasty, very atrocious, very hands-off type of fragrances. Call them whatever you want. But as I said in the beginning of this video, a lot of people are encouraging you in the online to avoid these fragrances at any cost. In my honest opinion, if you're listening to this type of advices, you are making an error. Why? Because you need to discover new things. You need to discover things that stimulate your senses, things that help you mature as a nose, things that are intriguing, that are challenging, that are creative, that are unique, things that actually represent the art of perfumery. Therefore, I highly encourage you to test them out, buy smaller quantities, decants, samples, wear them a couple of times, see if you like them, and only afterwards decide for yourself what's good or not. I'm gonna stop here. As always, thank you for watching. I'm gonna see you in the next one. Be safe, be good. Peace.